get up and dash 100 meters and I would eat up the competition. It's just non-existent. I kick my feet up. Thought I was passing till I got blasted.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. And I actually have a lot of good things to say about AEW Dynamite. From October the 23rd, 2021, there's a lot to like on this show. There's a lot that I enjoyed. So, what was the first thing that I enjoyed? Well, I kind of enjoyed Dustin versus Bryan Danielson. There were some parts of this match that I didn't care for. Particularly, I didn't like some of the strike exchanges. I'm not a fan of guys who just stand in front of each other and throw punches back and forth, back and forth. It's in pretty much every long match now. Pretty much any match of any length. It used to be only big main event matches now, but back then anyway, big main events, like we go to boo, yay, boo, yay. But now every match that's at least 10 minutes features guys going, boom, forearm, boom, kick, boom, forearm. And then the other one's like, come on, hit me. And then he does it again, and he does it again. It's like, come on. So that was the part of the match I didn't really care for. But for the most part, I did like this match. I did enjoy this match. It didn't live up to my expectations, but it was still pretty good. And Danielson wins the match with a guillotine choke. He essentially chokes Dustin out. Good finish. There was some really weird Daniel Bryan chants. So people forgot, or did they not forget? And it was just kind of out of habit, or was it like, you're always going to be Daniel Bryan, even if you try not to be. All right. Then we got one of the worst promos in the world. The Elite cut a promo, where they said it's going to be the Elite versus the Dark Order. And I was like, yippee, more Elite versus Dark Order stuff. I noticed that the Good Brothers were not there. I also heard that the Impact AEW thing was over. So maybe that's why the Good Brothers weren't around. In any event, the Super Elite plus Kenny Omega was there. And Kenny Omega wanted to talk about Hangman Page. Then he says that he was a cosplay cowboy and that he knows Hangman's insecurities and that he's not really a cowboy. He's a cosplay cowboy. And that instead of being cowboy shit, he should call it what it really is, which is coward shit. And I was like, oh my God, this is so bad. This is so bad. Kenny Omega cannot cut a promo. It's awful, bro. And he's a main event guy, so that's completely uncalled for. Let's since it's connected, Jungle Boy squashed Brandon Cutler in the snare trap. It actually looked very good. That snare trap is a son of a bitch. If you look at it, he really locks that joint in with like the arm under the throat. It's very good. Very tight too. Like I heard, that people used to bust Cena's balls for the way he does the STFU. But I think he was told to do it that way. Because if you look at the first way he did it, it was much like a headlock. I think when he did it to Chris Masters for the first time, he like basically put the guy in a fucking headlock. And then over time, he kind of transitioned to that vice-like thing that he started doing because it was safer and it didn't look like guys were getting strangled to death. But Jungle Boy's snare trap looks very good. So he cuts the promo. He actually put some bass in his voice this time. He called Cutler a warm-up and then said that he gave a good try, which I thought was great, good babyface stuff. Then he said he's ready to go again. He want one of these elite pieces of shit. Like he turned into a grown man for a moment to come out there. Nobody answered the call, so he then undid his babyfaceness by attacking Brandon Cutler for no good reason. He put him in the snare trap again. Brandon Cutler whined and cried for help, and then here comes Adam Cole, baby. They were calling for Adam Cole anyway in Miami. I'm going to talk about that in a second, but they're in Miami again. Then the Young Bucks attack Jungle Boy from behind. They double super kick him. They beat him up. Nobody comes to help. Obviously, Christian is not there. He's going to work Bound for Glory, which is live. They beat him up. The Luchasaurus isn't there either. I don't have a reason to why Luchasaurus wasn't there, or Marco Stunt. I think Marco Stunt might have been working in GCW. I don't know. He seems to always be working GCW. In any event, nobody was there. He got beat up. Then the Elite kissed him on the cheeks and forehead because that's what they do, and then threw him off the stage. So, through a table. They threw him off the stage through a table. Now, throwing him off the stage, that's dope. Okay, I can respect that. The kissing is not dope. See, we don't need that. We don't need this. And somebody was like, "Oh, don't the Elite just remind you of like the jocks in high school that are like complete douchebags?" And I looked and I was like, "What? What high school did you go to?" The high school that I went to, the jocks had muscles. At the very least, they had muscles. There ain't a fucking asshole in the Elite that's been inside of a real gym, right? I'm talking a real gym. I'm talking like lifting real weights. I think probably the heaviest thing they ever carried is video game controllers. Look at Adam Cole's arms, for fuck's sake. Look at his arms. Look at Kenny Omega's arms when he's not on the gas. If you think Kenny Omega's not on the gas, you're out of your mind. And the Young Bucks, come on, please. Please. They look like they need help getting dressed. They're so weak. It's ridiculous. But I do like that they threw him off the stage. I do like that part. I do like that Jungle Boy finally talked and put some bass in his voice and showed some assertiveness. I did like all of that. I just didn't like that they kissed him all over his head and shit because it was weird and completely uncalled for. FTR cut a promo saying it doesn't sit well with them that the AEW World Tag Team Champions are in a position to make more money than they are. It says that they need one more belt to become the GOATs since they have the AAA championships. Now they want the AEW World titles and they're going to end up getting them. Later on, Penta says that you guys want to play dirty, we'll show you how to play dirty. And then Alex says that they want revenge, so they're going to give them the revenge. I was like, okay, we'll see about that. As much as I like FTR, I don't know that I'm really all that interested in a full-blown FTR versus Lucha Brothers storyline, nor am I really all that interested in FTR as the AAA tag team champions. Like there's some really cool tag teams they could throw together for AAA, but I'm not so sure I'm enticed by FTR being involved with that. It seems to me that's like AEW taking advantage of another promotion again. We don't want our champions to lose or to lose the titles or something like that, so we're going to beat your champions. It's bullshit. But let's talk about MJF, because MJF was on fire tonight. He did a really good job, and I was really impressed. But it's still some things to critique here. So, it was supposed to be Shivani and Sting. But they're not going to actually have Sting cut a promo. Not a prolonged promo anyway. MJF interrupted and said Darby ain't coming back. And that it's easy to fool people who solve their problems with gun violence and incest. Like the good people of Miami. Then it said that it was Sting's fault that all of his friends turned his back on him. He made reference to Sting doing cocaine in the 80s by saying some of your old stash, from the 80s. He made reference to some other stuff about and a bunch of other old friends who turned their back on Sting. And then it said that Darby is going to find himself in the same spot as your old pal Lex Luger in a wheelchair. So then Sting, of course, blasts MJF, knocks him down. They ended up overwhelming Sting because the Pinnacle got involved. They beat the tar out of Sting. Nobody came out there to help him. Darby wasn't there. Then MJF cut a promo by saying, "Have I broken you mentally yet, Darby? Look at this. Look at Sting. He's slumped. Beat the tar out of him." And then it says, "This is your future. You'll always be second best to me." and only me. It says, I'm the past, present, and future of professional wrestling. And then when Sting started to kind of stir and get back up on his feet, MJF punched him with the Dynamite Diamond Ring and knocked Sting flat on out. It was a great segment. I've said on this channel before that I really don't care for all of the shock jock stuff that MJF does. But I generally, that's my view. I think that he's a try-hard and an edgelord. It's like he says out of bounds shit like, oh, like we're going to put your friend like Lex Luger, and it's like in a wheelchair. It's like, it's meant to elicit a reaction, of course. But it's complete inside baseball. Because the average person may not know Lex Luger is in a wheelchair. They might not even know who Lex Luger is. Like, I'm sure if you're a wrestling fan from like the 90s or whatever, you remember who he is. But if you're a kid, who is Lex Luger to you? Have you seen Lex Luger within your lifetime? If you're 19, when was the last time you saw Lex Luger? If you're 22, when was the last time you saw Lex Luger? So that kind of stuff is basically just edgelord shit. But I also believe that he reminds me a lot of a young Randy Orton, because Randy Orton was allowed to be wild disrespectful too when he was coming up. When he was doing the Legend Killer thing, spitting in like Harley Race's face and stuff like that. They were letting Randy Orton get away with a lot, which is what the whole Eddie in Hell thing came from. Is that they were really pushing the envelope to get Randy over. And now AEW is doing the same thing with MJF. Where they're allowing MJF to push the envelope more and more. Eventually, he's gonna get wrangled back. And that's the bad thing about it. Is you let this guy do whatever he wants because you want him to get over. But then what happens when he actually gets over? And now the restraints have to come in, because you want this guy to do media and you want him to be able to do a bunch of other things. But he's been doing it completely unhinged for a while. And now you're like, okay, now you're representing the company. You can't act like that. You can't do this. You can't say this stuff, because it'll affect the brand. Then it's going to be completely changed. It's going to be like, oh, this is all corporate wrestling now. That's why WWE makes people do it from the beginning. And, maybe you loosen up the restrictions over time, as opposed to letting them go out there and be the equivalent of goddamn Howard Stern. And then, when he gets to a certain level, you don't have to ask him to tamp it down. It doesn't seem to make sense to me, but he gets a reaction out of the people who are there, which is the point. And I think I understood all the references, so, but I'm, again, almost 40, so I understood it. There's a lot of other people who probably wouldn't have gotten it, So, like when he talked about the snow in the 80s and secret stashes and stuff like that, I knew what he meant. Because I knew what Sting's problems were. But a lot of other people probably didn't know and just feel like this throwaway stuff. But I give Sting a lot of credit for, participating in that and bringing up those old demons. Because I know a lot of people like to get away from that kind of stuff. But kudos on Sting for, doing his level best to make sure MJF gets over. And when they end up having that match, that's going to be a hot match. MJF and Sting. That's going to be hot. And Sting pinning MJF. Hopefully not. MJF pinning Sting and giving Sting his first loss in AEW should be very good. And this is the second time I've said it. All right. So move on. No, we can't move on because MJF was part of another segment. So MJF gets approached by Wardlow, who wants to know what the big deal was with MJF shoving him into Sting to get hit with the ball bat. MJF apologized, kind of lackluster apologized, and said that, look, man, protecting me is a full-time job. And, maybe it was too much work for one person. So I'm going to hire you an accountability buddy. And Wardlow was like, huh? Which kind of at the same time made me go, huh? But through context clues, I was able to figure it out. Basically, Wardlow is going to have somebody standing around and make sure he can do his job. And that guy is going to be Shawn Spears. Which is... my God, bro. Could you pick a worse accountability buddy than Shawn Spears? Why would you hire Shawn Spears for any type of labor? He's literally the worst at everything. He's a bad promo. He's a bad wrestler. He has no charisma. He sucks. And I don't have time to really go into detail how badly he sucks. Oh, so okay. So Britt Baker is with Tony Schiavone, and we found out now that Ty Conti is the number one contender, and will be fighting Britt Baker at Full Gear. And Britt Baker, because she's also an edgelord, essentially says, "Oh, only thing Ty Conti has done this entire time is show her ass, and I'm going to kick that ass that you love showing. Since you laid your hands on what's mine, I'm gonna lay my hands on you." DMD. I'm like, okay, sure, that works. Whatever floats your boat. I don't think we care anymore. Tay Conti's not going to win the title, and nobody believes that she will, so there really is no reason to go through all this. Ruby Soho defeats Penelope Ford in the TBS title tournament first round match. This was awful. There was at one point where I thought Ruby was going to break Penelope Ford's neck. There was also a point in time where I just trailed off and wasn't paying attention, especially after Ruby jumped head first into an RKO. I was just kind of like, why would you do that? Like, you were running. Why would you jump right into it? Why would you do that? Also, the finish came where, Penelope Ford got busted with the brass knucks. The ref kicked him out of the ring. She was complaining about the brass knucks, got rolled up and pinned. I was like, thank God it's over. I wanted I wanted a pin that says I survived it after that shit. Bobby Fish defeated Anthony Green with a roundhouse kick. Bobby Fish has been in AEW approximately 3 weeks. He has had more matches than Andrade in those 3 weeks. And Andrade, I believe, debuted, if I'm not wrong, in February or March or something like that. It was months ago. Maybe it was June. All right. Something like that. Maybe it was June. But he has had more matches than Andrade, and now he has more wins than Andrade. That's what's going on here. Bobby Fish has been featured on AEW more than Andrade has. And Andrade was the big free agent signing, right? And Bobby Fish was just a guy coming in doing stuff. Anyway, Bobby Fish defeats Anthony Green. Pretty swift victory, which was good. After the match, Bobby Fish attacked Anthony Green for no reason and continued to pound on him. And then CM Punk came in to chase off Bobby Fish. So the two oldest men on the roster, well, outside of Dustin, got stared each other down. And I was like, wow, this is like totally Ring of Honor from 2005 or something, right? Like, you have to be in the age bracket to believe this. Of course, they booked the match immediately. CM Punk versus Bobby Fish for Dynamite on Wednesday. And I'm like, okay, it's another CM Punk match. It's against a guy who's been around forever. It's going to be a good match because I don't believe that they can have a bad match. But I think we've seen everything that we're going to see out of Bobby Fish. He doesn't have any promo time. He doesn't cut any promos. He doesn't have any characters. He doesn't do anything. He just shows up and wrestles matches. And it's kind of like, all right, I guess so. But no. Like, if you're going to feature this guy this much, he needs to talk. He needs to cut promos. He needs to be doing something. But CM Punk versus Bobby Fish, complete. All the old Ring of Honor guys are going to just show up here. It's a Ring of Honor reunion tour. Fuck, it's not a new wrestling company. This is a Ring of Honor. How many different ECW knockoffs was it? It was House of Hardcore. XPW was like an offshoot rival company. What was it? CZW was another one. There was an Extreme Homecoming was another one. There are so many ECW knockoffs. Like, we might be having the first ever Ring of Honor complete and total knockoff, where it's nothing but Ring of Honor guys in one place. And I thought WWE collected a bunch of TNA and Ring of Honor guys. But AEW seem to be doing it on purpose and then featuring them all to wrestle each other. Come on, bro. I'm not going to even say why would CM Punk help Anthony Green? It's because he's a babyface. He doesn't want to see the young guy get bullied. Anthony Green, despite the fact how he looks, he is a young guy. So Leo Rush and Tony Schiavone got to talking. Well, Leo Rush talked about how he had to mentor Dante. And Dante was like, what do you mean, man? He's so stilted in his promo. Then he said that Matt Sydal was one of the best. Leo said that Matt Sydal failed, and he thinks that Dante can beat Matt Sydal, and he knows he can. So their first tag team match is going to be against the Sydal brothers. I was like, well, interesting way to get there, that's for sure. So now we got to talk about Eddie Kingston and Lance Archer. The match that made me very, very upset. And I have to detail why I was upset. For starters, I'm kind of tired of Lance Archer and the plants, the people in the crowd that he grabs to do stuff to. This idea, if you probably was wondering, why did Lance Archer start doing this stuff in Japan when he would stomp to the ring and then he would kick all the young boys that was around the ring? He'd throw the young lions against the barricade. So Minoru Suzuki does this too, where they bully the young lions. The young lions cower in fear as they kick them and throw them around, rip their shirts off. They just ported that to AEW with Lance Archer. He would go around the ring, he would kick a cameraman or snatch somebody from the crowd and body slam them. Where the idea came from is Stan Hansen and Bruiser Brody in Japan. You could probably watch a lot of old Japan videos and you'll see like Stan Hansen, no, Bruiser Brody would swing his chain around. Like he would get in the ramp, like as he was walking to the ring. And he would swing his chain around, and that would make all the Japanese people flee from him, like they would run away from him. They would chase fans in the crowd and stuff like that. Sometimes they would kick people just to make it seem like they're out of control, wild Americans, and that they were cavemen and barbarians. Stan Hansen would march through the crowd, shoving people and pushing people out of the way and all that kind of stuff. So that's basically where Lance Archer got it from. But he looks a lot more cartoonish in doing it. And he looks a lot more obvious. And it looks a lot like you wouldn't be touching this guy or putting your hands on him at all if he wasn't a plant. If he wasn't a guy on the roster already or somebody local or something like that, you wouldn't put your hands on the guy. Now, we know that's how it works in wrestling in general, but it comes across as very, very obvious in AEW. So I hate it, and they need to stop doing it. So when he grabbed this guy from the crowd and body slammed him on top of Eddie Kingston, I was like, excuse me? That was dumb. The crowd was very, very hot for this, though, especially as Eddie Kingston jumped him from the beginning. So the crowd was really into it. But then let's get straight to the moonsault. Lance Archer does a moonsault. He under rotates, lands on his head. Everybody saw it. The wind left the arena like, oh. Eddie Kingston smartly stays in his corner because he knows that Lance Archer is kind of out of it. Lance Archer never gets back onto his feet. He's down on all fours, but he never stands up again. The referee is talking to Lance Archer. He tells Eddie Kingston stay back. Eddie Kingston stays back. Kingston's like, okay. Lance Archer rolls outside the ring, and the referee is still talking to him, and Kingston's just kind of pacing around in the ring. Then Lance Archer is allowed to get back into the ring. He again never stands up. He hits an Oklahoma roll, 1, 2, 3. Eddie Kingston immediately bolts out of the ring so that the doctors and everybody can come in there and see what's going on with Lance Archer. And the entire time, I was screaming at the referee through the television to stop the fucking match. That's all you needed to do. Just stop the match. If the guy cannot stand up, stop the fucking match. I literally had just watched the end of the G1. It took me a while to catch up, But Kota Ibushi breaks his arm or his wrist on a Phoenix Splash. He lands awkwardly, lands right on his arm. Boom. He never gets back on his feet. This is the main event of one of the biggest shows of the year for New Japan. He stopped the fucking match. Right? He was like, okay, this guy's not getting up. It's over. He called it off. Like, yeah, he's fucked up. It's over. This is a nothing tournament match in the middle of fucking Dynamite. And the referee allowed Lance Archer to take another move without knowing the full extent of his injury. This roll up that they did stretched his head and neck. What were they thinking? Why not just call off the fucking match? So what? Kingston wins. It was not like the title was on the line, and you don't want to be premature and switching the title or anything like that. Kingston wins a tournament match. So what? He just loses in the next round if he's not supposed to be there. So what? Why would you allow a guy who could possibly have a broken neck, possibly have a serious concussion, continue to do anything? It's not 1997, right? And people will be like, well, when Owen did that power driver to Austin, the referee just kind of hung around, and then they did that weak roll-up. I was like, yeah, that was in 1997, though. You know, this is a different world. This is 2021. We know how bad head and neck injuries can be. We also know that, we know about CTE. We know about guys who have broken their neck, and they've still been able to perform with broken necks. Taz did it. Sabu did it. There was a lot of guys who were still able to wrestle after they broke their neck or after they got serious concussions. They could still go. The referee's job is not just to count three. It is you are literally the guy in the ring to make sure that both of the competitors can continue to go. Lance Archer couldn't go anymore. That's when you make the executive decision. You take it out of his hands and say, look, you can't stand up. Because obviously, if you could stand up, you would be standing up. You can't stand up. This match is over. Right? Eddie Kingston's standing over there in the corner, pacing back and forth like a caged lion. The people are watching. Why waste a second more of their time than necessary in this fucking match? And if I get fired for it, so what? But I'm not going to get fired for it because at the very least, I can play the card where I was worried about your safety. And this shit is not that important. It's a fucking tournament match. If Eddie Kingston is not supposed to go to the next round, guess what? He'll lose. So what? This is pro wrestling. But for you to allow a guy to be moved around without knowing the full extent of his injury is completely fucking irresponsible. I don't give a fuck if he wanted to continue. That's not the point. You're supposed to be the guy who's supposed to say no. That's not your place to let him do it. Because he's going to be a warrior. It's a performance. It's not real. I get it. But he's going to be a warrior and he's going to say, I can go. But then he's also going to be cloudy in the mind because he just fell on his fucking head. And he's 300 pounds. And people are watching. And you want to get the people their money's worth. I get all that too. All that needs to be considered. But ultimately, at the same time, this guy just fell on his fucking head and you saw it. You know he ain't okay. Especially as he didn't get right back up. He never got back on his feet. They carried him out of the arena. Bro, these referees are fucking stupid. AEW is a fucking mess. I can tell you that right now. They do not handle injuries. Like, it's one thing for it to not be perfect, and for them to do little things that are kind of, that's kind of stupid. Don't do that again. It's another thing when you do something that is just flat out brainless. The guy rolls outside the ring. He has to get back into the ring so that they can do the finish. No. You call it off. As soon as he leaves the ring and he can't get back in the ring, you call it off. You should have called it off before he even got outside the ring. If he's I get it. He's responsive. call it off. He fell on his head. All right. He's not moving full range of motion, that kind of thing. It's okay. You can stop it. All right. You can stop it. He'll live. It won't hurt him that lose one match by referee stoppage. Trust me. The world title's not on the line. It's not like he has to shave his head or he has to lose his career. It's all right. You can stop this fucking match. You fucking moron ref. And AEW, this is like what? This is number what? When it comes to guys with serious injuries, and AEW is just kind of like, well, fuck it, let it go. That's so stupid. It's so irresponsible. That's absolutely embarrassing. Absolutely an embarrassment on the business. You have to take that out of the wrestler's hands. You know, I get it. It might have been, if it was the main event of WrestleMania or something like that, I get the pressure that you might have been under not to ruin the show or change the finish summarily. You know, you don't want to be the guy who this guy was supposed to lose, and now you're like, well, I guess he's world champion because this other guy fell on his head. You know, call it off. You know, I get you don't want to make that kind of decision, but this wasn't that level of decision. This was this guy, if this goes wrong, if you move this guy without knowing his injuries, if you move him, you can make it worse. You should have just told him, get down, stay down, throw up the X, ring the fucking bell. It's literally that simple. You know, it's literally that simple. Even if he said, give me a minute, you can be like, all right, you got a minute, but you got to get on your feet. You know, if you can stand up, I'll give you a minute. When he couldn't get up, and he rolled outside the ring, he'd be like, nah, bro. Nah. I don't, look, as of recording this video, I don't know whether he had a concussion. I don't know if he got a stinger. I don't know if he broke his fucking neck in 100 places. I don't know what's going on. I hope he's all right. I'm pretty sure he's going to be all right. But that referee is an asshole. He's an absolute asshole. All right, moving on. Ethan Page, Scorpio Sky, and Dan Lambert were in the ring. Ethan Page said the inner circle sucks. And then he cut a promo on Jake Hager, says that he's an unbeatable MMA fighter, and said that he never seen any of that stuff. All he saw was Scorpio Sky beat him. Say that Santana and Ortiz called themselves street guys, but Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky used the streets as a runway. You know, because they're models, I guess, and handsome dudes. Says that Jericho isn't there, so he actually gets to cut a promo. And then says that they are the future and not the PR nightmare that is Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara comes out there, again, very bad. All he does is say Chris Jericho lines. Told Ethan Page to shut up. Says that you want to know why you're not further up on the card because nobody gives a shit about you. And then he referred to Lambert as a fat-faced dipshit. Lambert then laid down his stipulation for what he wanted for this match. Then he says that, you know, I'm proud of you, and maybe it'll end all the backstage rumors of you sucking on sticks. And I was just kind of like, whoa, that's dark. Yo, that's dark. In any event, he says that in exchange for the 10-man tag at Full Gear, they want Ethan Page to get a title shot, and if Sammy Guevara loses, he has to leave the inner circle. And Sammy Guevara says that sure, but he wants to be able to pick three of the American Top Team members that they're gonna fight if he win. And then he got attacked by American Top Team or Man of the Year or whatever. I don't know how that works. It's like Man of the Year, a tag team within American Top Team. Are they members of American Top Team? How does that work? Look, I don't know and I don't care, right? In any event, that's what happened in this particular part. Guevara is not good. Ethan Page is good when he's allowed to be, when he's inconsistent, because sometimes he sounds like he has some charisma, and then other times he just sounds like a guy, you know. But he seems to be very motivated here in this segment. He seemed to be pretty motivated. I don't like the stipulation. I like the idea of, hey, we should get a title match, but it's like, why was Ethan Page the guy that was chosen and not Scorpio Sky? Somebody should have to explain why one guy and not the other. You also, because of the way that the system is set up, as far as the stipulations are concerned, it's a stupid stipulation that Sammy Guevara has to leave the inner circle if he loses. Because now we know he's not going to lose. Because if he were to lose, that would cancel the match, wouldn't it? Because then it wouldn't be 5 members of the inner circle, it'd only be 4. And so that makes no sense. It makes no sense, but, I'm thinking here. And AEW's not doing that. Then John Moxley cut a great promo. John Moxley cut probably my favorite AEW promo that he's ever done. He very calmly explained that he doesn't care about pro wrestling. He doesn't care about the demos. He doesn't care about the fans. He doesn't care about anything. All he cares about is when he goes home and his daughter grabs his pinky, his broken pinky, at that. I like that he added that his pinky was broken. And he says that his daughter just grabs his pinky. And he remembers, like, that's what he's doing all this for. Not for the fans, not for the money, not for the glitz and the glamour. He says, in order for me to get back to that, some guys have to get hurt. And I'm going to get you before you get me. And he said, this ain't no race up the top of a ladder. This is 8 guys going into an alley. 1 guy walks out. And I'm going to be that guy. I got to be that guy. Because, this matters. This is what I do this for. And I was like, ooh wee. I love that promo. Man, that promo meant something. It meant something. And I like how he started where he says, like, I should be hollering and screaming and barking, and maybe I'll do that. Kind of like, maybe one day I'll get around to that. But here, I'm right here with this now. I'm on a personal level with this now. I really enjoyed that. That was good shit, man. That was great human stuff. Moxley cut a hell of a promo. The Dark Order talked. Who gives a shit? The uninteresting thing about the Dark Order is that they have a member 10, Brendan Vance, or whatever his name is, who's going to be in the World Title Tournament. And it was completely unexplained why he's in it, what he deserves to be in it, why he deserves to be in it, or anything of that measure. There's just no reason for it, any of it. And now we're stuck with this guy being in this tournament, and he doesn't cut a promo talking about how serious he is or anything like that. He's doing goofy Dark Order stuff. It's absolute trash. Absolute trash. Absolute trash. Miro is not trash though. Miro cuts another awesome promo. Another one of my favorite AEW promos of this, not only this show, but probably ever, where Miro says, all the violence that comes through me is because of you. It's a reflection on you. He's talking about his God. And he says, how dare you forsake me? They're going to put me in 100 fights. I'm going to break 100 necks. And he says, the road to redemption starts now. And that he's going to force God to make him his champion again, so that he can finally go home to his wife, even with bloody hands. And this crazed Miro is fantastic. Forsaken Miro is my favorite character in AEW. Bar none. Bar none. I'm a big fan of a lot of the other guys, some guys who have incredible talent, but this Forsaken Miro thing is excellent stuff. The question is, where do we go with this? He says he can't go home without a title, and now he's not in the title tournament. So what do? You're going to have him win the TNT belt back? So if he's this crazy and he only lost once, what in the world is going to happen if he gets put in the title tournament? If he gets put in a match against Sammy Guevara or something like that, and he loses loses that match too, you know. But it seems to me that he'll probably just get the belt back, because that seems like it makes more sense than anything. Is that he'll just get the belt back, because it means something. You know, that belt has real meaning. It has real weight right now, because he's like, he can't go home a loser. He can't go home, you know, without being God's favorite champion, you know, and he can't live his life like that. And that's a man on a journey, you know, a man with a transpersonal commitment. That's a real warrior right there, man. You know? So the main event of the show, Malachi Black versus Cody Rhodes. And this match was absolute chaos. The crowd was very hyped for it because they love Malachi Black. But this match was chaos. Like, they were outside the ring for 10 minutes, it felt like. And this match was not announced as no countouts, no disqualification. Both guys were bleeding. I'm not even sure why they were bleeding. We got a cameo from Arn Anderson, who pointed his finger guns at, you know, guys. And then Andrade came out there. He pointed his finger guns. Then Jose came out there. And all this stuff was going on in the ring, center ring, while Malachi and Cody were outside the ring. And we don't know why we don't know why Malachi and Andrade are working together. Then Pac came out there to fight off Andrade. And Cody at the same time was being very aggressive and very fiery, and yet getting booed out of the building because people thought he was awful. And people are literally chanting, Cody sucks, Cody sucks. They tried to do the storyline that Malachi Black had been doing with all the members of the Nightmare family, where he goes out and gets a chair. And he slides the chair to Cody. And then he dares Cody to hit him with the chair. And Cody was going to do it, and then he bailed outside the ring. You know, so he didn't let Cody swing, and then he bailed. It's like Cody took a step towards Mike hitting him with the damn thing, and he bailed. And it was just so much chaos, you know. And I guess that's the way the AEW fans like it, but I didn't care for it. There was no order. He hit him with Crossroads twice. Nothing. You know, he kicked out. The Black Mask, Cody fell on the bottom rope and held on to the bottom rope so he couldn't get pinned. The finish comes with the Tiger Driver 98, which is the double underhook power driver. Cody defeats Malachi Black, getting at least one of his wins back in typical fashion for Cody. And a lot of people criticize Cody for winning this match and saying, like, oh, he had to be the one to beat him, huh? It's like, look, Cody did 2 jobs for the guy. One of them was a squash job, you know. And it's okay to criticize Cody for, you know, hanging on until he finally won and not really changing too much in the process. But he did go through, you know, a journey of self-reflection where he had to go back and, you know, he had to go be like Apollo Creed and Rocky. You know, he had to go back, you know, and go back to his roots. You know, had to go figure out what he's been doing. But Malachi Black isn't going to be destroyed from one loss. But he's certainly being downplayed already by being essentially a partner of Andrade. And I don't see how those characters get along at all. Andrade is not a corrupted spirit, whatever, supernatural corrupted guy. He's a Mexican businessman. So I don't know where we're going with this partnership. Nor do I know how Cody fits into this. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But Cody got booed out of the building, which was expected from Miami. So I have some ancillary things to discuss. That's the show. Show was mostly enjoyable. I enjoyed the Moxley promo. I enjoyed the Miro promo, the MJF promo, the Dustin and Bryan Danielson match. Cody and Malachi Black was okay, but it was very hot as far as the crowd was concerned, but it was chaos otherwise. So that's the show. So there's some ancillary things I want to talk about. One is all the trips to Florida that AEW is making. It's almost like they're avoiding certain states or staying close to other states. It's like they seem to always be going in the same areas. I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like they hit the same markets over and over and over again. And almost in a loop. I don't know what to tell you, but it seems weird to me. Also, they talked about Tony Nese 3 times as the hottest free agent in wrestling right now. Tony Nese joining AEW would be good for Tony Nese. I don't see how it really helps AEW, though. I mean, what is he going to do? Unless Tony Nese found some personality, some charisma, I don't see how he really adds anything to AEW outside of being good wrestler. But I guess that's what they want. They just want good wrestler. Another 5'6", 126-pound guy, for their collection of 5'6", 126-pound guys. But it is what it is. I'm not going to knock the guy because he's going to AEW. It's just, hopefully he's learned some lessons from WWE and he actually applies them. Because I have been saying that a long time, Tony Nese is one of the guys that, if he wasn't so small, he would have got a chance. Because he's in great shape, fantastic shape. And people who like bodies, if you're a body guy, Tony Nese is going to be right up your alley. He's agile, he's strong, looks the part. I'm surprised WWE didn't do that much with him. But at the same time, he's very short. He's probably, 5'6", 5'7", which is like the normal size, or slightly under a normal size guy. The third thing is all the signs that were at Dynamite. Apparently, some guy decided to troll Dynamite and carry signs. One of them was "Let's Go Brandon," which we all know is a knock on Joe Biden. It's the "fuck Joe Biden" euphemism. "Let's go Brandon." People were very angry about that guy. I saw a lot of people upset about the "Let's Go Brandon" guy, and I didn't even notice it at first. I noticed it through people acting up about it. Same thing with the guy who had the sign that says, "I love twinks." I'm almost certain this was the same guy who started having different signs. They kept getting taken. And then he had a sign that said, "Sammy, cream pie me." And people were like, no. And they took that sign and he actually got ejected. And a lot of folks have been saying, like, hey, what's going on here with these fans being disruptive? And I'm like, okay. I mean, WWE, there's often people who get their signs taken for whatever reason. And usually it becomes a bigger deal when WWE does it. WWE takes a sign and, people are like, oh, they took my sign and all it said was something stupid, But this guy was, trying to go out there, trying to get attention. And a lot of it was sexual material. Talking about "I love twinks." Like, that was bizarre. That's real bizarre, The, cream pie me Sammy is very weird. Like, if a "Let's Go Brandon" chant had, really erupted, that would have been fun. Especially since it's Florida. That would have been fun. And I think it's going to happen at a wrestling show. Eventually, you're going to have a huge "Let's Go Brandon" chant. It's coming. There's going to be people real offended by it. But there was a lot of people who were just offended by the sign. And was like, throw that guy out. He should be ejected. He should be taken away. He's a January 6th insurrectionist. He's a Trump supporter. Oh, my anxiety. I need to take my Ativan. I'm like, come on, man. It's not that big of a deal. It's a guy with a sign. Guys with signs always get singled out by these wrestling promotions because these guys do stupid shit like try to draw attention to themselves. And this guy was on the hard cam with these signs too, so he was being real blatant. And yeah, it's a waste of a ticket to pay for a ticket just to get kicked out. But when you don't give a shit, why not? All right. Let me know what you guys think about AEW Dynamite from October 23rd, 2021. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, donate to the channel. Thank you guys for your time, and I'll talk to you guys later.